don't have to just pigeonhole myself and trade one thing, because there's opportunities all over the market, right? And if you're not listening out for those, then you are going to miss out. But people get scared, right? They're not an expert. They don't feel comfortable playing in it. How do you kind of manage that, right? Because it's hard to be an expert on everything. I know how I do it, but I'd like to know, how do you make sure you don't get your fingers burnt going into a space that you don't spend that much time in?
Well, a few ways. And number one is charting. It's a universal language. So it doesn't matter what you're trading. If you know how to read a chart, you know how to read a chart. And that really was my expertise. Charting, of course, looks so different now than it did back then. I was hand drawing charts. And so you start to learn about consolidation and trend lines. And then you start to understand volume. And even though I wasn't necessarily watching volume, you knew volume coming in just from the mere sound of it. And the same thing with momentum. So if you apply all of that along with a good strategy of understanding how to get in with a risk parameter, and understanding that once you get a certain amount of momentum in something, it's time for you to take a profit, and you start to understand risk reward. And really, basically, that's how it applies. It's not as easy now as it was on the floor because you were able to use all your senses. But in the world of electronic trading, I'll still use everything else. But sometimes I may just take a smaller position size if I'm trading something I've never traded before, until I understand more of the personality of how it trades and not necessarily the fundamental. Because the reason why I'm going there is I'm assuming the fundamentals are lined up.